Imagine a nation so divided that its very foundation, the document meant to unite it, becomes a battleground. A battleground not just of words, but of blood. Welcome to TimeFrame Unveiled, where we uncover the hidden stories that shaped history. I'm Leo, and today we're diving into a constitutional crisis so explosive it ignited the US Civil War. Did you know the Constitution, meant to hold America together, actually drove it apart? Stick around to find out how and why this single document sparked a war. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We're just getting started. Let's rewind to the 1850s. The United States is a ticking time bomb. On one side, you've got the northern states, pushing for freedom, industry, and a future without slavery. On the other, the southern states, clinging to their economy, their way of life, and yes, slavery. And right in the middle of this growing divide, the US Constitution. This document, signed in 1787, was supposed to be the glue holding the nation together. But by the 1850s, it's more like a fuse ready to ignite. The Constitution wasn't just a set of laws, it was a symbol. For Northerners, it represented liberty and equality. For Southerners, it protected their right to own slaves. You see, the Constitution had clauses like the 3/5 compromise, counting enslaved people as 3/5 of a person for representation, and the fugitive slave clause, forcing escaped slaves to be returned to their owners. These weren't just words on paper. They were weapons in a growing war of ideals. But here's the kicker. Both sides claimed the Constitution was on their side. Northern abolitionists argued it should end slavery, pointing to its promise of liberty for all. Southern leaders, they said it protected slavery, citing those same clauses I just mentioned. So, who was right? Let's dig deeper. Fast forward to 1857, and the tension hits a boiling point with the Dred Scott decision. Dred Scott, an enslaved man, sued for his freedom, arguing that living in a free state made him free. The Supreme Court's ruling, devastating. Chief Justice Roger Taney declared that black people, free or enslaved, had no rights which the white man was bound to respect. Even worse, the court said Congress couldn't ban slavery in new territories. This decision wasn't just a legal ruling, it was a slap in the face to abolitionists. Northerners were furious. They saw the Constitution being twisted to protect slavery at every turn. Meanwhile, Southerners cheered, claiming the ruling proved their interpretation was right. But this decision didn't settle the debate. It poured fuel on the fire. Riots broke out in northern cities. Abolitionist movements gained steam, with figures like Frederick Douglass and Harriet Beecher Stowe rallying the cause. And then came the debates over new territories. Should they be free or slave? The Constitution didn't give a clear answer, so Congress tried to step in with compromises like the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854. This act let territories decide for themselves, a concept called popular sovereignty. Sounds fair, right? Wrong. It led to bleeding Kansas, where pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers clashed in violent skirmishes. The Constitution, meant to guide the nation, was now a battleground, literally. By 1860, the constitutional crisis had pushed America to the brink. The North and South weren't just arguing over slavery, they were arguing over what the Constitution even meant. Was it a document of freedom or a shield for oppression? Southern states started to whisper about secession, leaving the Union entirely. They believed the Constitution gave them the right to protect their property, meaning enslaved people. Northerners, on the other hand, saw secession as treason. Enter Abraham Lincoln. His election in 1860 was the final straw. Lincoln opposed the spread of slavery, and Southern states saw him as a threat to their way of life. They didn't even wait for him to take office. South Carolina seceded in December 1860, followed by 6 other states. They formed the Confederate States of America, claiming the Constitution no longer applied to them. The North, led by Lincoln, refused to let the Union dissolve. And just like that, the constitutional crisis turned into a war. But here's the haunting question. Could this war have been avoided? If the Constitution had been clearer, if it had taken a firm stand on slavery, would the nation have torn itself apart? Historians still debate this today. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take. The constitutional crisis of the 1850s isn't just a history lesson, it's a warning. Today, we still grapple with questions about what the Constitution means. From debates over free speech to equal rights, the same document that divided a nation 160 years ago still shapes our world. The Civil War forced America to confront its contradictions, and we're still working through them. That's why history matters. It's not just about dates and names. It's about understanding who we are and who we can become. On TimeFrame Unveiled, we'll keep digging into these stories, so stick around for more. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the constitutional crisis that sparked the Civil War. If you learned something new, give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. Next week, we're diving into the growing abolitionist movements that shook the nation. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Subscribe and hit the bell so you're the first to know when it drops. This is Leo from TimeFrame Unveiled, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep exploring history.